Follow these easy peasy steps to secure and protect your data in your Nextcloud. I wish I knew before how easy it is to fix security and performance issues in the Docker Compose setup. After setting up Nextcloud, it will show you some security issues in the admin settings. Some are easier to fix, like accessing it via HTTPS instead of HTTP, but some others might be a bit harder. That's why today I'm going to show you how to fix the most common security issues pointed out by Nextcloud. And in the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to set up multi-factor authentication for a more secure login. Also, we're going to set up fail to ban, so we'll block anyone who tries to guess your password and tries to brute force into your cloud. Now, if you don't know what Nextcloud is or how to set it up in a Docker Compose setup, then watch this video right here where I show you step by step how to set up your very own secure private cloud. After the initial setup of Nextcloud, here in the admin settings, you will find a bunch of security warnings and setup warnings pointed out by Nextcloud, and we will go through each one of them one by one. And as always, every command that I'm using and every file that I'm creating here in this video, you will be able to find for download down in the description. By the way, I'm using the Nextcloud that we built in the last video to share those files with you. So the first security issue is the warning that we're accessing the Nextcloud via HTTP, and it's recommended to use HTTPS, which is much more secure. But if you followed my last video, we already have a Let's Encrypt certificate, and we're already using HTTPS. What's happening here is, since we're running Nextcloud in a container, and the container itself is only listening to port 80, it doesn't know we have an Nginx reverse proxy beforehand that's handling all the SSL and HTTPS connections. Also, the Passwords app also requires HTTPS. So in order to use the Passwords app and in order to get rid of this ugly security issue, we're going to configure this inside the command line. All right, to fix this, we navigate to the volumes. You can find this in cd var lib docker volumes, and then your container name. I think mine is called, let me check, Nextcloud test. In here you will find a folder called data, and in this data you will find a directory called config, and in here we have the config.php. We can open this with vim, and then if we go to the bottom with capital G, we can add one line here to get rid of this HTTP security warning. All we need to do is open a new line and add this line, override protocol HTTPS. Don't forget this little colon here at the end, or else the Nextcloud won't load anymore. We save this with :x, and now we can check it. So now if we load this password app again, it will work properly, because now it thinks, or it knows, we're using HTTPS. And also in the admin settings, once this is loaded, the first one is already done. For the next one, the high performance backend, I'm planning a second video for that, so we're just going to skip this one. And the next one is super easy as well. Nextcloud tells us we don't have a server maintenance window start time configured. That's super easy. It's also in the config.php file. So back here in the terminal, we open up the config.php file again. We open a new line, and then let's copy those two lines in here. The second line says maintenance to false. If you set it to true, it will show a big page saying the Nextcloud is a maintenance mode. So we want that to false. And we have the maintenance window start set to 1. That's from the official Docker documentation. It will start the maintenance window for some background jobs at 1 AM UTC. So we can save this again. Let's refresh this page again. And now the warning is gone. The next warning is rather easy as well. It's about those mimetype migrations. Mimetypes are just information about different files, and sometimes with a Nextcloud update, they will add new information about that. You just need to fix that up in the database. And to fix this, you just go back to your terminal. Let's open a new screen in here to keep it nice and organized. And then you just run this command in here. It's docker exec dash it, then your container name, in my case, Nextcloud _test. And then it will use the bash terminal, and then it will execute this command php occ maintenance repair, and it will include expensive, and it will run as www-data as user. So we execute this. It will write a bunch of green stuff in the command line. And now if we go back to the Nextcloud, we refresh the page. Once again, it needs to load. Now the mimetype migration issue is gone. The next issue pointed out to us is that we're using Ajax to execute background jobs, which is okay if you're using your Nextcloud for yourself or like in a really small team. But the recommended way of doing this is to use a cron job. And if you know where to configure this, it's really easy as well. First, inside the cloud, we go to basic settings, and then we switch to cron, which is recommended by Nextcloud. After that, we go into the command line, and inside the command line, you change into the directory etc cron.d. And here, maybe there's some stuff in here, maybe not. You just create a new file called Nextcloud cron, for example. And in here, you're going to paste this line. Every 5 minutes, on every day, on every hour, on every month, it will run this command with the user root. It will run docker exec with the user www-data. It will execute for the Docker container Nextcloud test a PHP command, and it is located inside the container. It's located in var www.html cron.php. That file cron.php comes from Nextcloud itself. You don't need to create that at all. Now, when we save this, it's all done. And to check if the cron job is working properly, you can use systemctl status cron. If you go down, you will see here, it will show every 5 minutes. It will show that it will execute your line. Also here in the Nextcloud itself, if you refresh this page, it will show you that the job ran seconds ago or like up to 5 minutes ago, because every 5 minutes this script will run. Back in the admin settings, it's not showing us anymore the Ajax warning, but the next warning is the strict transport security HTTPS header warning, and that one will be handled in our Nginx reverse proxy. So back to the command line. With the strict transport security header, we can really enforce HTTPS to our cloud. And for that, we're going to change directory into etc Nginx sites enabled. And in here, just open your file for your Nextcloud domain, and then you're going to add one line in here. Under the server name, we open a new line, maybe another one, just to keep it readable, and then we're going to, undo everything I did here and start again. We're going to open a new line and paste in this line without this one here in front. So just add header, strict transport security, max age, and then it includes all subdomains, and set it to always. Now we save this as always, Nginx-t to test our configuration. It says okay, so we can use systemctl reload Nginx, And if we go back here and reload this page, and in here it's still showing because I didn't set it in the correct file. So once again, we're going to paste this in here, remove this one, make it pretty, save it, Nginx -t, write it correctly, and then systemctl reload Nginx. Now if we go back to our cloud and reload this page, wait once again, it's not going to show us this strict HTTP header thingy anymore. The next security warning is among the easiest ones as well. It just detected that some indexes are missing in the database, and for that we're just going to add them to our MySQL server. So back to the command line, and in here, no matter where you are and what directory, you're just going to run this command. It's docker exec-it, then your container name, of course with the bash terminal, and then it's a PHP command again. It's just saying add missing indexes, and executed as the user www-data. If we press enter, it gives us a lot of green text again, and now it's done. So of course, if we go back to our cloud and reload this page, every yellow warning is gone now. So those two warnings in the log we can ignore, and the database is locked for transactional, is used for transactional file locking. We're going to ignore too. For that we need a Redis server or Redis container. That's going to be an extra video. The next one we can do is your installation has no default phone region set, and that's rather easy. You can do that in the config.php file again. So back here in the command line. So for that, let's switch to the upper terminal, because in here we already are in the right location, and then open a new line at the end. Just paste this in default phone region. I set mine to US, but you can set yours to the country you're in, or that's most convenient to you. Now if we save this, go back here, let me put this into main screen, and let's just reload this. Now it's not showing us with the phone region anymore. Now it's only telling us that, oops, sorry for that, we don't have a email server configuration yet in here, but that one is rather easy. Just go to your basic settings. You can see our cron job is working nicely. And in here, if you scroll down to email server, you just enter your credentials, your email address, your SMTP data with password, authentication required. Confirm this. Put in your credentials in here, so Nextcloud is able to send out email. You can test those credentials with send email. If it runs into an error, go to your admin and check if in your profile, once it's loaded, you have configured an email. It will send a test email to this email that you configured here. So enter this first, then send the test email. And what's that's used for? If one of the users forget their password, then they can just reset their password by pressing reset password. They get an automatic email where they can set a new password, and so on and so forth. So now on to how to add two-factor authentication for your cloud. For that, go to plus apps, where you can install new apps. Go to active apps, because in here you can search for TOTP. It's already installed and you just need to enable it. After that, go to your personal settings. Every user needs to activate that for themselves. So go there, go to security, and in here you have two-factor authentication. You can just click enable TOTP and then go to your phone, use Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator, whatever you like best. Scan this QR code and it will have added it, and then you enter this little one-time password that's only valid for 30 seconds. You know how this works. You verify, and now it's enabled. You can also generate a backup code just in case you lose your phone or whatever. So with the backup code, you can still enter your cloud and then add a new device for your two-factor authentication. And now if we log out and log in again, it will ask us for the two-factor authentication code, and only if we enter this code we can log in here. So even if someone guesses your password right or hacks your password, they can't enter without your phone. You need this phone to enter this with the two-factor authentication, which makes your cloud super secure. And for the last security measure today, we're going to set up fail to ban for our Nextcloud. If you don't know yet what fail to ban is, it will oversee every login attempt, and if there is too many failed attempts from one IP address, it will block this IP address for a period of time. You can set how long it will be blocked, and you can set how many failed attempts it takes to block that person or that IP address. So to set it up, we go back to our command line once again. And if you don't have a fail to ban installed yet, just run apt install fail to ban. Mine is already up and running, so it's not installing anything. And after installing fail to ban, we go to this directory, var log, and we create a new file in here, a new directory first. Make directory, we call it Nextcloud. And then what we need to do is to create a new file in here, touch var log Nextcloud, and it's called nextcloud.log. And then let's change the rights to this file. Sorry for that. Yeah, you need to write that correctly. So let's rename this file with this typo error, nextcloud.log. And now we should be able to run this. And if we look at this, now it got www data as owner and as group, and also the rights are set accordingly, just like we want it and we need it. So now if we go in our Docker compose file, again, we go to our Nextcloud service, and in volumes, we're just going to add a new volume to var log Nextcloud. We're going to map it into the container var log, just like this. We're going to exit this, and then we can docker compose down and docker compose up -d. Just recreate it so the volume is available inside the container. And now we can change into our volumes folder again. Again, that's var lib docker volumes Nextcloud, this one here. Oops, there is the data folder, and in here there is config. There's the data folder, and in here there is config, and in here we have our config.php, and in here we add those 3 lines. Those are log type file. Log file is var log nextcloud.log, just what we mapped in our volume, and the log level is 2. Let's save this. And after that, we're going to define a filter configuration in fail to ban and also a jail, that's how they call it, for fail to ban. For that, we change into the directory etc fail to ban filter d. And in here, we're going to create a new file. Let's call it nextcloud.conf. Make sure it's .conf. And in here, we're going to paste this one here. That's from the official Docker, from the official fail to ban documentation for Docker. Let's save this. And the jail is one directory back, and then I think jailD. And in here, we're going to make a new file as well. Nextcloud.conf, same file name, and paste this in here, just like that. What this does is it says the jail for Nextcloud is enabled. It uses the filter Nextcloud, nextcloud.conf. That's what we configured for earlier. It listens to the port 80 and 4403. That's HTTP, which we don't use, but just in case, and HTTPS. And it's listening to it's checking the log path, the log file in this path. I've set it that you can try it 3 times. So if you fail to log in 3 times within 600 seconds, that's 10 minutes, then you will be banned for 3,600 seconds. So let's save this. And after that, we restart our systemctl restart fail to ban. And then we can check if everything is working fine. Status fail to ban. It's running nicely. So now if someone tries to access this cloud and tries to guess a bunch of different passwords or even usernames, doesn't matter what, after 3 attempts, it will ban that user's IP address for that set period of time. You can up that time, or you can also use 10 tries or how many ever you see best for your Nextcloud. And as you can see, it's already loading longer because my IP address right now is banned and it's just waiting. The browser is just waiting to get a response, which it won't get. If we wait a bit longer, it will show us that this site is not available anymore for me or for my IP address, which also means that everyone in my household, for example, who shares my IP address, who tries to access now this Nextcloud server, can't access it as well. Just keep that in mind if you're using it in an office setup, for example. Now it's done loading. It can see that you can't reach the page, so you're really secure there from anyone trying to guess your password for your cloud or even your username or anything at all. One little bonus here at the end: if you lock yourself out, you can check which IP address are in jail with fail to ban client status Nextcloud. It will show the IP address. I won't show you here, obviously. And then you can run this command where you just enter the IP address you want to unban. And after you enter that command, your IP is not banned anymore. You can access the cloud again. But you can also wait until the ban time is over, and then you can access it as well. And with those fixes and commands, you made your Nextcloud more stable and, most importantly, more secure. If you don't have a Nextcloud yet, you can try out my demo. You find the link in the description and how to register there. And if you like my content, I would really appreciate a like, a subscribe, and maybe even a comment. It helps out small channels just like mine so much. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.